and you're expecting a different result. They have a word for that. They call it insanity. The reason that is so is probably when you're doing the same thing, you know the result is going to be this way. So when whatever you're doing won't refuse to yield, won't you just tilt and twist what you start to do and see if you get into business and your business is plunging down and you continue to still do it the same way you do it. Hey, how many of you here have, well, we expect that people don't lie in church, but I tell you that in church people lie the most. How many times have you been tricked, deceived, and you beat the bait of if you invest 1,000 in 3 weeks, you cash up 2,000. Hey, you see, there's a lot of people that say, I don't want it. They did it to me. And then when I said, no, I won't do it. Then another one will say, this one, pastor, let me not deceive you. And you know who's talking to me? A pastor. This thing works. Let me show pastor my video. Can I share your screen? You see, 2005. After a month. And you can track it. It becomes 5,000. I catch my 5,000. I say, I already said no. Okay, let me. All right. 2005. They will let you cash 5,000. You put 5,000 in. He even deceived me. Then another big deal will come. Right now, I have resolved. What I don't sweat for, I don't expect no gain. Because when they come back, it comes with a more convincing, no, I am resolved, I won't look back. Because it is the very definition of insanity. Why will you expect to do the same thing and over and expect a different thing? Which means you have not learned from your mistake, which means you continue to waste your pain. When you're in business and the business is not flourishing, and you continue to dig into it and you're burning money like paper, and then you say that, is God there? No, God didn't ask you. Well, you're giving me power to make way. He didn't give you to go do that. Why will you not seek him first before you launch? And then when you launch, you crash. You don't say that God. No, did he tell you in the first place to go on 90 days prayer and fasting, dry fast? Until your bone becomes glued to your skin, glued to your body. Prayer and fasting is powerful and is needed. But in anything you do here, seek God. Amen. Seek God. So failure itself is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Thank you. Because when you learn from your mistake, you'll now be able to do better. From that experience that plunged you into debt. And you know that this is not what I would do. This is what I did that caused the trouble. So I learned from it because experience is the best teacher. And that is why the young ones always want to work with the elderly so that they can know the way. Because so everything, not all that glitter is gold, but for the young one, everything is rosy. And the one say, no, this one is laced with thorn. Don't bite this one. How? Because I know the way. It was Bishop Henry Jackson that was saying, when he was coming out, he always would think every road is nice until you come to the fork in the road, the why. And you don't know whether it's this or this. You see, if you take the wrong one, it might cost you 4 years, 10 years to get back. Don't you know the GPS when you're traveling in a known area and it keeps saying make the next right, and there are two right that look so close together and you make the wrong right and it says recalculating and it will now take you around about to bring you back to where you went off so that you know that this is the way. No, because it costs you 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. One wrong turn may be very costly. The stakes are high. And that is why he said, redeem the time, for the days are evil. Walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time. It says in Galatians 3, from verse 1, he called them, and he said, see, if I say you are foolish, they will get on the phone, they will call the people overseas, they will call the people, you know what, do you believe that pastor just said I'm foolish? And they will deliberate and will decide that, you see, you need to leave that church because you say you are foolish. You'll be surprised at the foolishness that happens around, even in church. Galatians 3:1 says, oh, foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you? Oh, he called me a witch too. Before your very eyes, Jesus Christ was clearly portrayed as crucified. I would like to learn just one thing from you. Did you receive the Spirit by works of the law or by hearing with faith? Are you so foolish after starting in the Spirit? Are you now finishing in the flesh? Have you suffered so much for nothing? If it really was for nothing. Does God lavish the Spirit on you and work miracles among you because you practice the law or because you hear and believe? It said that when you started well, based on some principles, you want to follow Christ. And that is why I said that before you follow me, just please count the cost. He said, who among you will want to build a house? And we will not know the number of bags of cement and the number, the bale of rods and the tipper of pebbles that you will need to build the house before you start. Or otherwise, you will build it halfway and you see you've run out of resources and people will say, oh, he started, he couldn't finish it, and they mock you because you did not count the cost before you embark on the project. So what would I say for the one that just finished halfway and abandoned it? You wasted resources and you suffer pain. All right. It says, so it's the same as one that wants to start a business and you do not have enough to carry through it. You put all your money, you never get to a place where you start to receive profit. No revenue is coming in. Revenue is equal to cost and profit. But no revenue is coming in. You pour your money. At the end of the day, you abandon the project. You waste your time. You waste your money. You suffer loss. And you waste your pain. And so when you come to Christ, like the story here in Galatians 3, before you follow Christ, count the cost. Because number one, it will cost you a lot of things that you love to do that you have to pull on. The many, many, many things I used to love, I love them no more. That's a great change. These are things that you will not endure. You will walk away from. Not all these things are sinful, but one thing about it is that even if it is not sinful, if you carry the kind of thing that might want to derail somebody watching you, you abandon it. You refrain from doing things. You struggle against flesh to please God. And you get to a point now where he says, if you do not lose heart, there will be a reward. You walk all the way, but you didn't get to the place of breakthrough to start to receive reward. You wasted your pain. Because it didn't yield for you something that will bring reward. It didn't take you to a place of breakthrough. I'm coming with my reward with me. But you won't get the reward. This is just the case of the servants. When the master traveled a long distance and he gave one 10 talents and he gave one 5 talents or 3 or you know the story. Is it 5 and 3 and 1 or 3, 5 and 3 and 1? 5, 3, 1. 5 to 1. Any other reasonable suggestion too? 5, 3, 1. 5 to 1. Okay. He did not labor enough to a place of reward. And then, the one that has a lot, the young, rich ruler with a lot of money, was about to break into and gallop into big, real money. But he couldn't just obey simple instruction. He was saddened. He wanted something from God, but he wasn't prepared to pay the cost for it. And he went down. He went down. Look at the Lord of Kings over Judah and Samaria and Israel. The moment they attained fame, they became so solid-headed and they cancelled. Look at, is it Jeroboam? The Lord told him, is it Hosea, that gave him the prophetic word that the Lord will make you ruler over these people. You will take 10 parts of this garment that was rain, and 2 will become for Judah. He turned away from God. He started well. He lost everything. His son that he asked his wife to disguise, because now you did something he's supposed to do at first with what he decided to do at last. I remember, he called me. May I not remember at the late time, my Creator. Doing the same thing. This is what Dale Carnegie said. Develop success from failures. Discouragement and failure are 2 of the surest stepping stones to success. Develop success from failures. Let failure experience be your teacher to success. Discouragement and failure are the 2 of the surest stepping stones to success. Now, when you are determined to do something, you have 2 people in mind, 2 set of people in mind that are pushing you to do it. You have people that are sharing you to success. I'm going to do this for my mom. My mom has been my rock. She's been my number 1 cheerleader. I'm going to do it. Mommy, this is for you. I will push through. I will push through. You know the second set of people? I will do to show them that say I can't do. That becomes a motivational factor that will push you to the next place. They claim I can. Oh, they will see. And your song will be, come and see what the Lord has done. Hebrews chapter 5 says, verse 7, during the days of Jesus' earthly life, he offered up prayers and petitions with loud cries and tears to the one who could save him from death. And he was heard because of his reverence. Although he was a son, he learned obedience from what he suffered. Suffering produced for him obedience. And there is nothing that is easy that is nothing that is good that comes easy. I said to a lot of people that a calm sea can never produce a skillful sailor. To be able to break through and become skillful, you must have swum through the tide and turbulence of the sea. Now, he cannot become a pilot, commercial pilot, if he's just cruising under the cool atmosphere, bright sun. Somebody told me one Sunday morning, I was attending a Baptist church, and these people, they just are big men. And that Sunday was clear sky, blue sky. He said, hey, John, this is a perfect day to fly. He flew in the night, gusting and windy, all alone. You cannot expect great things to just fall on your lap. You got to, even when doors are opened unto you. Effectual doors been opened, but there were so many adversaries. Nothing beautiful comes easy. This is what it says in 2 Corinthians 12. I'm going to get to this place quickly. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 6. Even if I wanted to boast, I would not be a fool, because I will be speaking the truth. But I refrain so no one will credit me with more than he sees in me or hears from me. I don't want to look bigger than... You see, you cannot claim you are so heavy. They will put you on a scale, and the scale will describe exactly how describe your weight. You can say you are heavy all you want. They will put you on a scale. I used to think I didn't know how I believe that I used to think I was 10, 11. I believe, because when I stand close to my friends that are 6 foot, I know that I weigh a little bit. I don't know, like, so this nurse, the home visit nurse came one day. I was 5'11". I thought I was 5'11". Yeah. What did I say? Okay. All right. So this nurse came. My insurance allowed once a year home visit. The nurse will come and ask all these questions, and once a year it's packaged with my insurance. I said, so I want my weight. I gave her my weight straight out. She said, yes. My height. I said, I think I'm 5'11". I said, I'm looking at you. You are like 5. You are not even 5'10". I said, no, I'm 5. Then I stopped. She said, no. So I stopped arguing. She put me there. I was 5'9". I said, what? I just used to believe that I'm so. But you see, now, if you say you are heavy, the scale will prove exactly your weight. No, you can be mouthy and say this is what you want to be, but it will be determined exactly as what it is when they put you on a scale. You are not 5'11", sir. You are 5'9". I say, okay. Now, this is what Peter said. It said that I will be speaking the truth, but I refrain, so no one will credit me with more than he sees in me or hears from me. I don't want nobody to look at me bigger than who I am. Or because of these surpassingly great revelations, so to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. That something was pushed into him to keep him in check. So this pain was a necessary pain to keep me from derailing from the call. It's not the type the Lord would take away. It's not you don't know how to pray. He said, no, it's good. Keep it. And when he tried so many times, the Lord said, no, it's okay. He grew to a point where he started to embrace the pain. And said, if that is what will keep me humble, bring it on. So this is what he said. He said, 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is perfected in weakness. If I see that as what it is, so that I can be powerful in God, in my own weakness, my condition for God's power is my weakness. That's the precondition. I thank God for power empowering me, because even if if the pain is not there, I won't be able to flow in this level of power. So thank you. I said, now I'll be glad even the more in my affliction, because when I'm weak, then I'm strong. The pain is there. The pain has been connected to a much greater useful purpose, which is God's strength, even in that place of pain. It's not wasting his pain. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly in my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest on me. There's this story of a building contractor. And he used to build for the owner of the business. And clients would say, this is the kind of house I want. I want 2-level story, I want a rambler, I want a split level, I want a standalone, I want a this and that, single family, whatever it is. I want a pool at the back in the backyard. I want a greenhouse in the yard. I pray to Pastor Jide, God Almighty, help Pastor Jide to complete my greenhouse. Okay. You see, let me stay focused. I'm struggling hard right now. So this contractor will build the house from scratch to finish. And the day of ceremony, they will give the key to the client that demanded for it. And at the ceremony, they cut the ribbon, and that's it. He's been doing this for years. And there's another big contract of a big house with a lot of rooms and everything there. And he got a little bit overwhelmed and tired. He said that if you do not lose hope, I'm coming with my reward with me. And he said, this house, I've been serving this master for this many years. You know, he reduced the concentration of cement and mixed it with different kind of things. He didn't use the best standard steel. He used the different. So he packaged it so in a way, and he gave it a beautiful paint to finish it. The paint was to conceal the poor job he did. And the day of ceremony came. And the master, they finished everything. It's time to hand over the key. He said, I just want to tell you that I have my foreman that's been doing marvelous job in all this way. He's been faithful. I will just give him an assignment. I'll travel to go and negotiate another contract, and maybe in New York, and I'll cross to California for another contract. He continues to do, and I don't know what to do with him. So come on, foreman, and I'll give you this property for all your good work. And he started to cry. Because that is the one that he did. He did a shabby work, and the wind would blow and take that away because he did a housey job. And that was because he couldn't wait. Endurance is a virtue. He wasted his energy, he wasted everything. And so Romans 5:1 said, therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have gained access by faith into his grace in which we stand. And we rejoice in the hope of the glory of God. Not only that, but we also rejoice in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Not only that, but we also rejoice in our suffering because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not disappoint us because God has poured out his love. Let there be pushed through with pain. Push through, resist the enemy. Don't let them come back to you. Don't let the trick of the enemy swam you down. Don't let the tide of the world wave you away. But set your focus on him, the author and finisher of our faith. Because Peter was walking on water. Why? Not because of magic, because he focused everything on him and he was looking unto Jesus and he was receiving strength. He said, one thing have I desired which I will seek after, to dwell in the house of the Lord the days of my life, to behold. As you behold, you've been transformed to the very image of that you beholding. To behold his beauty, to behold his beauty. He was walking on water. He was looking at Jesus. When the storm was terrible, he twisted for a minute and he sank. There is no time at all that you need to take your eyes off him. When you do, it's a quick sign. I pray in Jesus' name you will not start well with your bubbling in your heart and your racing heart, and you walk towards here and you say, I want to give my life to Jesus, and everything was happening like you were in a trance, and the moment you go out, the devil come in and deceive you. I say, I don't even know why I went out. The enemy starts to sink you. The enemy starts to sink you. I'll tell you that endurance is a gift. Endurance is a gift. Endurance is an ability to survive the most difficult situation. It's the ability to survive the most difficult situation with steady and focused effort towards the goal. It's a gift. It's an ability to survive. even the most difficult. It is the capacity to finish well, endurance. The one gift that will enable us to honor commitments when commitments are so difficult to honor. Every meaningful accomplishment or relationship will require endurance, commitment. What will you say was the struggles of Job in the story in the Bible? He was a righteous, God-fearing man. He experienced several trials and afflictions. He lost all his property. His children died. And he suffered great physical agony. In the midst of his sufferings, Job was visited by friends. Though the friends intended to comfort him, they accused him of transgression. It's like insult upon injury. These are my bosom friends, the ones I can come and seek comfort. And they come in and they point finger and they kind of mock you and kind of wonder whether those things you acquire were rightfully acquired. Or maybe now God is punishing you for all those things. That was the struggle. And then let's look again at Hebrews 12, verse 3. Hebrews 12, verse 3 says, every story in the Bible, every good worldly secular story that leads to some great achievement, if you go underneath, it was a life of struggle and pain and struggle and endurance and perseverance, and that is how that's the entire thing. When you see the bed that looked like a bed of roses, it was they were sleeping on bed of thorns to be able before they cross over. I'll tell you, some many doctors, some PhDs, some whatever they are. They didn't start like that, especially even if you are born with silver spoon in your mouth. A time will come that will break forth from there and will break into your purpose. Consider him who endured such hostilities from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. In your struggle against sin, have you resisted to the point of shedding blood? Have you resisted to the point of shedding your own blood? I was going to just jump quickly now here because my time is going. 2 Peter 1 verse 3. His divine power has given us everything we need for life and godliness through the knowledge of him who called us by his own glory and excellence. Through these, he has given us the precious and magnificent promises, so that through them you may become partakers of the divine nature. He's craving me to fit in, to be a partaker. It's building me, it's training me, it's grinding me, it's just doing all so that I can fit in as a partaker of his glory, right? Okay, that's the plan. Through this, he has given us his precious and magnificent promises, so that through them you may become partakers of the divine nature. Now that you have escaped the corruption in the world caused by evil desires, for this very reason, to fit into the purpose of God, for this very reason, now make every effort to add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness love. Now this is what it says. If you possess these qualities and continue, because there's no point where you stop, and continue to grow in them, this is the promise, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive in the knowledge of God. Don't you know that knowledge is everything you need? Knowledge will allow you to have insights, such that Peter didn't know before until he got to the house of Cornelius, the centurion. And when he got there, he said to the man before the man just bowed to him, he said, you know that it's not fit for a Jew like me to mingle with you. But I had a vision and he said I should come. And so what do you have for me? And that one narrated everything. And when he said everything, like I was praying and I saw the angel and he said, send men to Joppa, to the house of Simeon the tanner, and there you will see Simeon there by the water. It will come to you. And when he finished saying it, now Peter said, now I truly know that God shows no favoritism. But in every nation, whoever will fear him and do his will is acceptable. Now, he didn't want to mingle, but right there, the wisdom of God, the knowledge of God gave him insight to know what he didn't know before. Way before that time, he didn't even know that God can even visit the Gentile world. But he was a key holder. I said, you have a key. Key to open to that was the first time they break out of their realm of Jewish mentality and they took the kingdom to the Gentile world. That's why I'm standing today. In his book, the one-time Senate chaplain of the Senate House, the House of Senate. He wrote a book, The Blessings in Adversity. His name is Black. If you do not allow your pain to waste, there is blessing in adversity. There is blessing in adversity. God uses suffering to refine our faith, to refine the faith of his people. And our present suffering contributes to future glory. If you suffer, keep doing it while trusting God and trusting the soul of your Creator. Now, this is what I'm going to say quickly. If you look at the story of Job, if you look at the story of Joseph, if God is taking you to a real greater height, be ready to learn what you need to know to make you where he's taking. It is not the same labor you put in to have a GED that you put in to have a bachelor's. It is not the same labor you put in for a bachelor that you will put in to have a master's. It's not the kind of labor that you put in for master that will cause you to have a PhD, DSC. And after you've gone in all that, now experience will now take over and start to teach you to perfect in your area of calling. I'm still being trained. And I don't know who you are that you can't be talked to. I don't know. He talks to me. He talks to me. These are the points I want us to note because I need to balance this up. In the life of Joseph, this is part of the things you need to know when you are going through pain, to keep going. That's the reason you don't give up. Strive to please God regardless of the consequences that it may cause you. Strive to please God at all times, regardless of the consequences. Now, my nephew Jimmy was talking to me and his dad one time. He said, Uncle Daddy, let me ask you this thing. When Joseph was confronted by Potiphar's wife, what do you say to that? How possible for you to resist that? It's not that she's beautiful. She must be beautiful. But what about the stake of you refusing to do what she's to follow her advances? What? Christian, yeah. This lady said, come lie with me. Come lie with me. And hey, if you do it, the bottom line, I said to him, we're giving different scenarios. And then after he already gone back, the Lord let me understand that it is not really in Joseph's power to resist as it is in God's ability that helped him to not fall. And that plunged him into jail. Why not just do it and have all the favor from this woman and live your life? No, you still will be caught. Eventually, you'll be caught. Look at all your Nollywood, Hollywood, whatever stories. When they start to do it, eventually they will say, oh, wow, at last it will catch up with you. There's no way out. But if you please God and you are accused and you have been punished, not as a murderer, God will be with you. That's the first thing when you're going through all the sorrow. Instead of temptation to add 1 0 to the line of money that will not be your portion, why not just let God be your sufficiency? You can't meet this. Oh, actually, I'm going to come back. I need some really big money. That's the difference. I'm going to say, relying on God's will, relying on God's guidance will help you prepare for your future. What is the story of Joseph? The Lord has given him grace and ability to interpret dreams. And in everywhere that he went through, he didn't stop. It was the dream that he continued to interpret. He didn't get tired of God and turn his way against God. It wasn't at any point in time that he said that, if you are really God, how come I'm this thing? And you see my heart. I didn't touch that woman. She tried to set me up and you allowed me to go to jail. So what did the Bible say every time? And the presence of the Lord was upon him. When he was so in the house of Potiphar, the Lord's power was with him. The Lord gave him favor. And when he was lied upon and casted into jail, and the power of the Lord was with him, and the favor of the Lord was with him. And he did not deny God. It was still the God-given ability that he used to... What if he refused to follow God at that time and didn't give the interpretation to the baker and the porter? What when he got to the presence of Pharaoh? He decided to say, your government punished me, let me just punish you. He said, no, there'll be 7 years of plenty and there'll be 7 years of life. Appoint somebody, and he gave him step by step blueprint of what he needs to do to save the nation and the world. Pick somebody that has the Spirit of God. Say, who here that has the Spirit of God like you? You. It was the guidance of God that step one by one. He will have rotted in jail, but the word the Lord has put in him, and he not deserting God and proclaiming the goodness of God, took him from nowhere to everywhere. At no time will you say that the enemy is doing this to me. Do not take trial for temptation. Trial is meant to take you to the next level. Temptation is about to do. Now, do not hold grudges against even your enemy that afflicts you. Release them and let it go. When you're releasing them, you are chained in prison. You have a string that holds you back. When you release your enemy, you just cut the chain and you free yourself from bondage. So you can move to the next place. Strive to please God all the time. Your reliance on God will help to prepare you for your future. God is sovereign. Even in your darkest moments in life, you will see God's blessing in every stage of Joseph's endeavor. He was with him when he was sold. It was with him when he was resold. It was with him and prospering in the house of Potiphar. It was with him when he went through the biggest trial. It was with him when his brothers came face to face with him. The enemies that plunged him into this. He was able to understand by the reasoning of God that you meant this for evil, so I'm not holding grudges against you, because God has set what you did for evil for right, so that now he has brought me this way. Why should I still be? Hey, how many of you, your relatives, they did something bad to you, and that pushed you to move up to the next place. And now you've been promoted because of their error, and they are still holding them grudges. You should be thanking them. The Lord is good. Hallelujah. Amen. That's the progression